Hi. So, not exactly one of my best features, but I hate to give up on stuff. I have a habit of drilling out. I made a little plate. I have a habit on things like this because I just work by eye mostly. I drilled a hole in the center to clear out the center of it so that I could work down to that faster with a lathe. It's easy to drill out the spot, and I could drill it down to the depth that I wanted. Unfortunately, I drilled it out not with this one, but with a Forstner bit like this, and the tip of the blade sticks down further than the sides, the tip of the center point drills down further than the sides. So I ended up making a hole. I didn't turn it out. Usually you keep going until that hole's gone, that spot made by this. But I didn't do that, and it was too big and too deep. It was a different bit than I normally use. I'll never use it again. I've ground it now, so I won't do this again. But I ended up with a hole. I patched the hole. I didn't want to give up. I patched the hole. Cut a little piece of maple, similar grain to this. I cut a little piece of maple, and I ground out the tip of the bit, drilled down, no one can tell, and put the little piece in. Now I'm going to chisel it off, gouge, and then sand it out so it's smooth. That's the plan. I can't say that I've done a lot of this sort of thing. So, let's see. I'm going to be in your way, mostly. Swinging around to the corner. Might be able to see a little bit of this. So, cut a piece of scrap wood so that it'll hold this thing. I got it on a piece of soft Homa soap, so I won't make all kinds of marks on it. I'm just barely deep enough, but I think, deep enough. I don't think I'll jump out too much. Anyway, shouldn't take much. I left it a little bit proud. Let's face it, only so many times you can cut a piece of maple like that thin. And the truth is, I don't think I'd even mind if this was rounded, but I don't think I can do that. I'm not going to do that on purpose anyway. This is a silly one. I'd already started, you can tell I've got some finish on this thing. I'd already started to finish it. And I put some wax in the hole. And in the process of buffing out the first bit of finish, I cut into the wax. And it was, basically I had just a little bit smaller, a little bit shallower wax dent in the piece. It was no good. Okay, and I'm sure you're asking, Dave, why are you going across the grain with this? Doesn't that make it harder to do? And the answer is probably does. Going with the grain is how we like to work wood. Certainly I like to work wood by going with the grain, but going with the grain sometimes with pieces of wood that you don't know much about. I don't know really which way the grain's rising or falling in this, and it looks like I'm at the cusp of it. Could be going more than one direction. I don't want to find out. So if I cut across the grain, it will not chip on me. It may be harder to cut, and it will leave it a little bit, not ragged, but a little bit of a rough surface. But I'm going to sand this with some hand sandpaper with my thumb. It is about an inch across. I can handle it. I just want to get it all down to one thickness so they don't end up, going up and down with the sandpaper. But I think I've got it. That's pretty darn good. Little, it's always something you could do to improve it. That's pretty darn good. This is 220 sandpaper. It's a little bit fine for this. Let me get some 180. Yeah. Speak of the devil. Here's a piece right here. I can hear you. Dave, why are you going across the grain? The answer is because I'm shaping. I won't do it for long. Okay, now I've done that. I've got that shape in it. And now I'm going to go with the grain so I won't leave. I'll sand out what marks I made and I won't leave any other bad marks. I had, as I told you, I'd finished this already, put a coat of finish on it. I put some tung oil on, which means that the glue didn't stick to it at all. I used Gorilla Glue, which really doesn't stick to tung oil at all. And that is smooth. Now, I guess I'll hit it with some 120, and then I'll give it another coat of tung oil. Well, that's really nice. That feels great. Now I have to buff the whole thing anyway, so this is the time to do that. Yeah, I've already got this one with a stamp on it. I really thought I was heading toward done. I just couldn't stand the dent. That waxy thing was no good. I mean, I'm sure the wax would work out on some things, but it sure didn't on the bottom of a crafty bowl. All right, well, that is looking pretty darn good. I think I'll do a quick buff on the back side, and we'll get a coat of tung oil on it. Let's get some sort of blemish in the center, like an artifact of something I just did. I don't know what that would have been. The clamp, I had a clamp on it. Maybe the clamp had a little bit of schmutz on it. Anyway, all right. Ready for some tung oil. That'll look great. You want to watch? All right, give me a minute. Let's clean up the back a little bit more, and I'll let you see what you can watch. You watch a little bit of tung oil go on the face. I'm hoping that the maple goes a really light tan rather than the red-brown of the cherry. Because, I mean, it's there. I may as well have it look like something, right? All right, we'll do that. Okay, so just to give you a quick heads up on how this one's going to look. That's what I'm thinking. Light brown, not red brown. That's where I'm hoping. Okay, so these are not the same. They came from the same piece of wood. Blacksmith friend likes to refer to things like this as cousins. You know, they're not brothers and sisters, but they're cousins. They're related to each other. So this is hopefully the last coat. These will be, you know, virtually waterproof. You know, says me. It's pretty hot here today. I hope that doesn't affect how this finish works. I'm hoping. Alright, so this junk brush kind of getting ready to be gone by tung oil. It oxidizes in the open can. So this will get steel wool and wax, and that should take all of the little pecky pieces off it. I'm hoping. Okay, so the trick here is to try to get the back side of this thing clean and get the finish a little bit lipped onto the front, a little bit, so that as I'm finishing off the front or the top, I won't get too many bristles around the back and leave drips. That's what this is about. Doing both sides at the same time, it's all about drips. So you can see what I've done. Gotten a little bit of oil around the edge. That's the dream. Just a little bit. And now I can finish to that and not deposit so much oil that it causes a drip. Remembering that this oil is thin. Pretty thin. I mean, it's thinner than paint, right? Alright. See, there's one of those holes I talk about. I don't mind leaving little teeny dents, but this one was big. It's all behind us now. Alright. Oiled, varnished, tung oil varnish. And these things are finished. That's all smoothed down. Should all work out. Thanks for watching. Can't wait till we wax them. So, a couple of days have passed, and here we are. This came out, the tung oil that I brushed on came out kind of brushy. I guess so I got some 3/0 steel wool, and I'm going over the surface. I believe I'm just buffing the tung oil. I don't believe that I'll ever touch, even get close to the wood. Thin layers, but I'm not taking, even 3/0 steel wool. Anyway, I'm trying to remove the brushy parts. It's imperfect, but the tung oil usually serves me quite well. I think it's a little bit old. The can's been open for a while. It's about half full. It starts to congeal a little bit. Starts the process of oxidizing and linking. All right, geez, you know what? The brushiness of this thing is pretty much gone. I don't see any sanding. I'm liking it. It's certainly acceptable for a dish with a patched hole in it. So the patch, you know, came out, it's a patch. Looks like a patch, it will always. I'm going to pull it off the edge a little bit so I can buff the bottom edge of the lip. So 3/0 steel wool, kind of a polish. Well, you see that, you know, the whole point of being humble from time to time is all the little things that aren't right about it, you know, little bits of, I don't know, I tore it a little bit and I didn't clean it up well enough when I was planing it, when I was turning it. The bottom I did with a chisel. It's okay. It's okay. Got lines in it. Yeah. kind of handmade. Not very a ways from perfect, but still, I'm not really unhappy. Just, you know, could always be happier. So now I'm convinced this is going to be right. I used just the steel wool by itself because I was a little bit afraid. But my next step is to put wax on it, and I wanted to be sure that I was going to be satisfied with what I got for a finish before I put the wax on, because the wax would send this into a... I'd then have to get rid of all the wax residue if I ever was going to try to put a finish on it again. More tung oil. So the wax is going to go on now because I'm happy enough with how it's going to turn out. So I've got a piece of steel wool now with wax on it, and I will give it one more luster pass, right? Because that's what we're looking for, is luster. I've got two of these little bowls. One of them I bumbled on the way here, and I think I bruised one edge of it. I don't think I did. I know I did. I've touched it up with a little bit of tung oil, and hopefully it will also clean up. I'd like to take both of these home tonight. All right. I'll set that aside. Now onto this one. This one, I left a hole in the center from that drill thing that I do, but it's not very deep. It's hardly noticeable, says me. So I'm going to move on. I do that a lot. I've almost always left a little hole. Just it was a big hole on that one. New bit, I guess. Or I didn't turn it enough. Anyway, all right. So this one I bruised a little spot on one edge. It wasn't much. And I just lightly sanded it and rubbed a little bit of tung oil on it a while ago. And, you know, for better or worse, it's good enough. All right, that should take care of that. All right, put those things away. Away. And now, the rag. All right. Yeah, still a little streaky. Still a little streaky. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh. I didn't wax this one. You could have said something. No, I did. I waxed this. You saw me. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wax just that much harder. Thin film cools and gases off really fast. That's the whole point of the buff. All right. Okay, I think that's it. All right. Two bowls, they ain't even close to being the same size. They ain't even close to being the same pitch. Yeah, the same thickness. This one's about 5/16. This one's about a quarter. I like this one better. Anyway, 2 bowls. Take them home. See what the powers that be think of them. And, you know, they're just for display, right? Be great. Thanks for watching. So, 2 bowls. They're buffed out pretty good. Little spots. It's not that you're never done or you're never happy. It's just, it's nice to do a little better, you know? We can always do better. Do it again. You know, that's it. Better. Let's have that be the lesson for the day. If you think about it, and apply yourself, you can do better. Let's do that. Yeah, better. Every time you do something, it gets a little better. That little bit of peckiness that I felt to the back is gone. It's better. All right, I'm happy. Take them home. Get 2 bowls. Everyone will say, Dave, you did a good job. And that's swell. Thanks for watching. Let me know how you do.